I'm gonna. I'm joining conference now. Maybe. It's like the oldest see so. Okay. This Livingston City Commission, are we ready?
Yeah.
This Livingston Commission meeting is called to order. Roll call, please.
Chair Leeds,
Here.
Vice Chair Kale,
Here.
Commissioner Short,
Present.
Commissioner Freeman, and members are excused.
First up on the agenda is general public comment. These are items that are not on the agenda. Individuals are reminded that public comments should be limited to items over which the city commission has supervision, controls jurisdiction, or advisory power. Is there anybody here that wants to give general public comment?
Just kidding.
That
Come on.
would be awkward.
You weren't even looking.
Commissioner Heisler. I mean, you could, I guess, if you wanted, but,
I could, but
okay, not seeing anybody. General public comment is closed. Next on the item is action item A, consideration of agreement 20013 for levy restoration construction. Mr. Gager.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair Newts. The item before you is, as you noted, consideration of a construction contract to perform some restoration on the levee. And I do apologize to the commission and the community for my old finance director background showing through. The levee homonym caught me up. I've misspelled levee. And so to be clear, we are referring to the earthen structure next to the river here, not a tax bill. And so as you know, the levee sustained some damage in the flooding last summer. And so the contract here is to bring the levee back to its pre-flood condition. And what we're largely talking about here is the restoration of riprap in the area. Behind the Civic Center by the softball fields where the two channels of the river meet. And the reason we are here tonight is because we have received bids and we have a contractor that is prepared to do the work. And we would like to get that approval so we can get the work started and completed before the expected high water in June, given that the current snowpack is higher than it was this time last year. So I will stand for any questions you may have, and our Public Works Director Shannon Holmes is here as well.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I do, because I actually had a member of the public ask me this question and I couldn't answer it, so I thought I'd be good. Is there a report about the inspection of the levee that's available? I haven't seen it, and now I've public folks asking me, is there an official report that is available for the public to look at for the inspection of the levee?
Excellent question, Commissioner. I'll introduce Shannon Holmes, the Public Works Director, and he can talk about some of the engineering work that has led up to this point.
Good evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to have this meeting tonight. We wouldn't be here today without the help of and assistance of a lot of different entities. And first and foremost would be Tom Coleman of Restoration Engineering, located right here in Livingston. Tom actually did a quick assessment for the city during the week of the flood and the week after, and then did a more thorough comprehensive report that he finished back in November, and we submitted to FEMA with our documentation on the work. So while it's not available to the public on the city website now, I can talk to Grant and we can make sure that that's available.
Okay, I think that'd be really helpful. Thank you. Did you have other questions? Or am I follow?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have questions you want to ask first?
I'm not clarifying.
My first clarifying question is a process question.
Mhm.
So the motion in the packet indicates It's authorizing the chair to sign the agreement. According to the agreement, the chair is not the one that signs the agreement. Just want to get clarity, but that's correct. Yeah, and we should change it to city manager.
Yes.
But we should, okay.
For the motion, okay.
So you don't want to be responsible?
I don't think that's within the scope of the law, Commissioner Schwartz.
I agree with you.
And also no. Bonus answer. I have questions, but I also think it can wait till after and be more,
I think mine might be more.
yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have any other clarifying questions before we move into motion? Okay, no. All right, so looking for a motion, please correct it and say city manager instead of chair. One of you, please.
I will do it. I move to approve agreement 20013 with CK May Excavating and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, now we will open it to public comment. Nobody's online, right? Anybody here want to give public comment? No? Yeah, no
Oh,
from the
come
crowd.
on.
Well, so public comment for action item A is closed, and now we'll move to commission deliberation. Commissioner Schwartz.
Um, Everything I've read here, we're just repairing what has been damaged, correct? I believe, yeah. I'm trying to remember when the levy went in, when we did this, was it prior to 96 or 7? There was a clarifying question we should have had.
That's okay.
Um,
You can still ask it now.
yeah. Thanks, Jen.
So Commissioner Schwartz, the last major work done on the levee was actually done in 97.
Right, yeah, okay. And so basically what we're doing is just stabilizing what we did in 97. We're not increasing it or,
We are actually, and then this is critical for the description of this project.
Yeah,
is
thank you.
We're basically putting the levee back into pre-disaster condition.
okay,
We are not adding additional embankment into the waterway.
Right.
It is in layman's terms, we're replacing riprap that was washed and eroded away from the embankment.
yeah, that's,
And the highest concentration of that erosion actually was from the Civic Center downstream to where the city property ends.
yeah, that was my only.
Which is like-
Just for public knowledge, that's pretty much what I assumed, and that we're not changing anything, we're not re-engineering the levees or anything like that, because I know it's a contentious thing. With levees, you just create problems downstream and stuff like that, but we're dealing with what's here now, and that's all, just want the public to know that we're not doing anything different than that. Thanks. I yield.
Thank you. And the city property is the end of the ball fields, is that right? Before the golf course?
Near the Long's property, yes, behind the ball fields. Next.
Did you want to go next? You need to.
I can go. I guess this isn't really a clarifying question, but I guess more discussion. I know like we've gotten some public comments. So thank you for sharing that with all of us. And I know there's some concern about potential tree removal or ecosystem removal, meaning shrubs, grasses, vegetation. Are we going to do our best to, it looks like this from here, but I really would like to make sure that the contractor is looking at like removing the least amount of vegetation as possible, particularly trees, and then will we have the ability to revegetate as needed? I know that we have some local experts in the area that could certainly advise and help with that, so.
Thank you, Commissioner Kale. Excellent question. Yes, the the team recognizes the value of the trees and other vegetation that exists on the top of the levee. And in our conversations, the goal of the contractor would be to disturb as little of that existing vegetation as possible and to the extent possible to leave trees in place. We do acknowledge that there is likely to be some tree trimming because the operation itself is to place riprap onto the bank from above. We don't have the ability to work in the river bed at this point. And so there are some trees and some vegetation that will likely be impacted by this project. That said, the team is considering what types of mitigation efforts can be included in the project, flood mitigation efforts, and as you pointed out, vegetation certainly helps to stabilize the earthen structure that we have. And so that very likely will be a part of that. Shannon, is there anything like that?
Just rest assured, the whole project team, including the contractor, utmost priority to protect what we already have. We're really hopeful that we can do some trimming to be able to get equipment access. If you do have an opportunity, most of our erosion actually occurred near the base of the trees. So they are somewhat hard to access from the top of the levee. So just keep that in mind, but know that one of FEMA's requirements through the section 106 NHPA guidelines is that we implement bioengineering into this design, and it's included. So I think there's a great opportunity for a community involved project. I've already had discussions with Tom Coleman. We do have approval from Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks to actually gather and collect some willows. And that was the hot topic this evening with FEMA was actually putting that bioengineering into the plans to be able to move forward with getting Army Corps of Engineer permit approval.
That's great. And I would just say, I know Freshwater Partners, and I actually think the watershed group have been looking at replacing willows along the rest of the river in areas that were washed out. So there may be some opportunity there for assistance. So might be a good connection.
My goal is once we actually get Army Corps permit approval, we have the other Fish, Wildlife and Parks 124, DEQ 318. As long as we comply with this bioengineering and the National Historical environmental regulations with FEMA, the Army Corps is ready to approve our permit, hopefully as early as this Friday or possibly Monday. And I think once we get to that point, I think we have an opportunity to gather all these community partners and look at doing that project. It is not, that work is not included in the current project and contract that you're approving tonight, but if it's a requirement for the city to receive the funds, we're gonna make sure that it happens. And I think community involved event actually would be a great way to make that happen.
And I would say even if FEMA doesn't require it, I think we as a city should do the thing. That should happen. Just because I think that's really important for this community. And then that kind of lead me, you kind of led me right into that. Sheriff, to Shannon. It sounds like most of our permits are in place and we're just waiting for one more. Is that kind of where
Yes.
we're at with the permit process?
That is
And then we'll be ready to move forward.
I will go on record and say this is probably one of the most challenging permits and processes that I've had to navigate through in my time here at the city. And I've dedicated a lot of time this week to get us to the point where the Army Corps of Engineers is ready to give that permit approval. So
Great, thank you. I think I need.
Great, I agree with Vice Chair Kale about making sure we're doing our best, not just what's required, and also how lucky that we have a city manager that's been through this before, this process with all of the agencies. So, and a city planner also, who's been through it before too. I mean, not great that you both have been through it before, but also great that we have the experience on the team. So, was the FEMA meeting today in Red Lodge? Was that the one that they came over to Carbon County?
I was not aware of that until talking with Greg Coleman earlier this week. We've been doing all of our correspondence through Ryan Smith, our program delivery manager through FEMA. He has, been, organizing the meetings with all the different, staff that are essential to getting to where we're at today with this project.
I did have a federal office reach out to me and asked if we were being kept in the loop as a city with the federal offices, so I just want to make sure that's on your radar. So we're being looped in wherever you need us to be looped in.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've been aware of the meeting in Red Lodge for a few weeks now, and my conversations with the county commissioners and some folks that were putting it on were that it was more actually a county focused meeting.
Okay.
Because counties have kind of a slightly different role than us, so.
I trust your judgment. I just wanted to make sure that you were in the loop so that we weren't out of the loop.
Yeah.
If we needed to be.
Oh, no, I think
Good,
we are the loop at this point.
Good. So I have a couple questions. So this is used from, this money to pay for this project would be from this FEMA budget. But it doesn't match what we're being given. So I'm wondering what happens to the rest of the FEMA money.
So the FEMA money was actually based on, the report that Commissioner Kale, alluded to earlier, that we certainly can make available to the public. In addition to this contract amount for the FEMA money, we have Tom Coleman and Restoration Engineering Consulting, fees with doing the reports and helping putting the bidding documents and all that together.
And we just haven't seen those yet.
Those were not included, I guess, as part of this contract, larger contract with CK May.
Okay, so we'll get those later or?
So,
we'll get those?
you know, the restoration engineering invoices have actually previously come through in large part.
Okay, thank
That,
you.
that was a contract that was entered into not
Back
long
in
after.
Fall or
Yeah.
early winter. Okay, thank you. And then my next question is, so it sounds like this is a standard contract according to the staff report. I'm taken back to a time in February 2022 where the executive branch told us that we got an award for our great job with equity and inclusion. And I'm looking at this contract and noticing that we have on page 13(7) of the appendix or attachment language about pronouns basically being interchangeable. The amount of space it takes up to make that disclaimer is more than the 8 or 9 instances of gendered language in the contract. Do we need to pass another policy to make sure things that are coming from the executive branch aren't gendered? I've seen job announcements and now contracts, and it just seems like it shouldn't be coming before us this way anymore.
Certainly, I will be happy to take a look at our standard form of contract and make sure it complies with former commission directives regarding gender specific pronouns and.
Can you, I think it'd be nice for everything in the executive branch too, like job postings and other things. It just seems like if we're gonna take the credit for doing the thing, then we also need to be doing the thing across the board, not just commission voted on things.
Certainly. I couldn't agree with you more, Chair. I will say, we are in current discussions with our 3 collectively bargained labor groups. And that will be one of the things that is updated because those positions are actually referenced and called a certain thing in the collective bargaining agreement. And so please know that we are working on that process.
Great, thank you.
That was on page 13.
Yeah, and the page 13 is disclaimer, but throughout the document, I counted
Where's the?
I counted it like at
Number
least 6 or
18.
something.
The,
It's under 18 on page 13.
Captions, headings and titles.
oh,
Yeah, that the last sentence in there, but there's like several counts within the document of unnecessarily
okay.
gendered
Yeah.
language.
All right.
And it goes back and forth between him
Yeah,
and them. and
now I
him and
understand.
them.
Thanks.
It's just a small thing that doesn't even happen in our
Yeah.
stuff. It's a small thing that's a big thing because it's like at least 50% of the population that is excluded. I think everything else got addressed. One thing I guess I would ask is I think it would be great if we had the opportunity for local experts to weigh in on executive branch decisions, because not everything needs to go through the commission, or should it, obviously, but I also think it's true, like the emails that got submitted for the record, and what the other commissioners have said, that we have lots of great folks in our community. If there is a mechanism that can go through the commission to support, if you need like a special group as the executive branch leadership to help influence and educate processes on your side of the government. I think that that would be a good thing to bring forward to us if you need that, or if you decide not to go that route and have something less formal, it would be good to make sure that the public is aware that that's happening also, because I think there's great interest and it would help help people know like how we're making decisions as local government and being influenced.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the comments, Sharon News, as we approach the 1 year anniversary of the event. It certainly has caused a little bit of internal reflection within the executive branch of the city of Livingston to kind of assess where we are and also where we could be in the future. And so your thoughts of an advisory group that's related to river issues is one that I'm going to take under serious consideration. I appreciate that.
There's some really great experts in our community, so.
Yeah, I mean,
As long as we make sure they are credentialed and
so,
stuff like that.
yeah, just to be clear,
Not
this is
just
a
their- Yeah,
This is a reminder that the commission has advisory boards and we select who's on those advisory boards, and the city manager has the opportunity to create advisory boards for the executive branch. In which case the executive branch would be setting criteria for those boards, but at some point that approval would come from the commission, but it would be driven by the executive branch. So
and yeah.
just putting
and
on the
the-
record for people who haven't experienced or seen that, it doesn't
Right.
happen often.
And
but it
that
happens.
they're properly vetted too, because there's people that make claims that I have this master's or degree or whatever, and turns out to be false. It's pretty easy for our staff, I think, to, you know,
So, yeah, Commissioner Schwartz, and that's what I'm saying, is we
Yeah.
have to put some trust in the city manager that
Absolutely.
he would be able to set the criteria and evaluate the
just want
folks
to make
that
sure
apply.
that's put out there because
Yeah, I think it's valid.
I think that's valid, yeah.
we have and still are dealing with that kind of thing. So, thank
Totally.
you.
Awesome.
Didn't mean to interrupt, but
It's okay.
I appreciate the suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's many ways also to be advised. So that's just one. And if you have other ideas, I just think having the public know would be great. Since otherwise we're gonna keep getting questions of how we're making decisions. And also
yeah, I mean,
recognizing that you have a lane of your own that doesn't involve the commission to make decisions too, and that's within your authority and power. Okay, well, that's all that I have. Are you all ready to vote? We did.
yeah, and I
public
would
comment.
just add to what you said. We have a lot of people that are experts in those fields in this city. I mean, I've got one across the street, got one across the alley. And they're talking with constantly, and they're here because they love this and they.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about, and so. Yeah, kudos, yeah, we, I mean, we have a wealth of. Of very well-educated, well-experienced people,
Mhm,
so
Absolutely.
thank you, I yield.
Yeah, Livingston's the best. I
Mhm.
second that. Anything else? Are we ready?
No, I think we're ready. I'm ready.
We're ready. Roll call, please.
Chair News.
Four.
Vice Chair Kale.
Four.
Commissioner Short.
Four.
Motion passes. Next on the agenda. City manager comments.
Thank you, Chair Newts and members of the commission. We do recognize the inconvenience that special meetings cause, and we are appreciative of your time and effort to make them happen. And I do appreciate your comments and the board's comments about the river. It certainly is a large member of our community and something that is going to continually require some evaluation and consideration as we move through some of these larger decisions. And so I thank you for that, and let's hope for a slow melt off this spring, shall we?
So part of this rain through.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Oh, I thought you were telling me, well, shut
No,
up.
I was scratching it. Scratching it.
I just, yeah, thank you. I don't mind the special meetings. I mean, they're important anytime. I'm going to. Well, I don't know how to do this, but on the alley project that we're gonna be doing. From, is it Clark? Clark to Calendar, or Geyser to Calendar?
Yes.
We have a half an alley between. Calendar and American Bank that is just a mess. And I'm not sure if that's included in this project. It is, okay. I keep telling people it is, you know, and I just needed confirmation on it because, yeah. It sucks. Anyway, okay, thanks Shannon. That's all I need now. You guys are awesome. That whole public works, I love those guys. We gotta have a picnic in the summer somehow. Okay, thank you, I yield.
I still think we need t-shirts that say Public Works.
Yeah,
I've been pushing for it for 4.5 years. I haven't gotten anywhere yet. Vice Chair Gill.
I agree with, Commissioner Schwartz. I don't mind the special meetings when they need to happen. So thank you for getting us here and moving things along. Shannon, thank you for coming this evening and working hard on getting all the permits for this project. So we appreciate you. So thank you. Yeah, let's plan a picnic. Let's not have a
Yeah,
flood
do
this
something.
year. Let's plan a picnic instead. That would be like a whole lot more fun. So let's do that. And
Thanks, everybody. Short and sweet. Thanks for coming, Enterprise. I think this is considerable public interest and I appreciate you covering stories like this for our community and we'll look forward to updates.
it makes it worth buying the paper.
Bonus comment from Commissioner Schwartz. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So I'm gonna say by Kale, second by Schwartz. 'Cause She's
That
sitting
works.
closer, so the sound reached me first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting of Livingston City Commission is adjourned at 5:58 PM. Thanks, everybody.
We really have to